All right, well, good morning. On behalf of the Independence Chamber of Commerce and the City of Independence, welcome to First Friday for the month of April. We're glad to see so many faces in the room. It's nice to be out and about, and we have a lot of people joining us on Facebook Live, so we're excited to be able to have an opportunity to get lots of great information out to the community through First Friday. I'm going to slip this off. We've got all of our speakers are adequately distanced up here, far enough apart that we can speak without our masks on, and hopefully people are on the list if they haven't already. I heard some conversation about people who just got their vaccination yesterday, so that seems to be the topic of conversation. Before we hear from our four speakers this morning, please help me thank this morning's business sponsor, Dickey's Barbecue Pit. Gary Hogsett and his wife, Ann, are generous supporters of our community, the Chamber of Commerce, and investors in our beautiful city and downtown. Please welcome our past city commissioner, Leadership Independence graduate, owner of Apricot Lane, Indie Brewworks investor, owner of Laurel Street Bakery Building, owner of the historic Stanford Building, and another unnamed building right behind the movie theater, both with great potential, and the owner of Dickey's Barbecue Pit, Gary Hogsett.
Thank you, Lisa. Okay, thank you for that very much. But first of all, I want to have a round of applause for Lisa Wilson, the best chamber president on the planet. I'm absolutely certain of it. She's amazing. I love this event. I love everything Lisa does. So she is very, very down to earth. She doesn't pull punches. So she said, dude, if you're going to make them listen to you, you've got to offer them something free. So I am prepared to do that. As you have to listen to me speak. So as you leave, if you made it through, I have coupons for a free sandwich. No strings attached. You don't have to buy a sandwich to get one free. A free sandwich, or 6 smoked wings. The wings are a very popular item. I don't know why there's no meat on the darn things, but we sell a lot of wings. If you haven't tried them, give them a try. Or our six-piece of our fall-off-the-bone ribs, which are truly amazing, and I do love. So thank you for coming today. Please come by and support Dickey's. You're going to have to listen to me talk for a long time later, so I'm not going to say any more at this point. But thanks again for coming this morning.
Well, I'll say something. I love the marinated chicken breast. Have you had that? Oh my gosh, it's the best. And the fried okra, I'm just saying. All right, let's talk about what's going on. You have some papers in front of you. You have a program that talks about our speakers. On the back of the program, you have some information about Love Independence. You also have a community calendar that's two-sided for April and May. And you also have a flyer for some things that are happening at our business sponsors location, which would be Sunday Fun Days and barbecue and blues. So you'll want to make sure you hold on to those pieces of paper. If you're listening on Facebook Live, you can see all of these documents on our website, so you can go check that out as well. So before we start, I want to tell you that now's a good time, while the weather's nice, to remember that there are 4 storm shelters in our community. You don't want to wait until the storm sirens go off and then wonder where in the world you're supposed to go. So we want to keep everybody safe in our community and make you aware that the Civic Center right here where we are is one of the locations. The Independence High School Gymnasium is another location. However, you cannot go during school hours, but you can go Monday through Friday after 4 and on weekends as well. And you'll use the northwest entrance to the gym. The Montgomery County Judicial Center basement on Main Street, you'll use the south entrance, that's number 3. And temporary City Hall Building D at 811 West Laurel, you use the west basement door. And those are the 4 storm shelters in our community, and 3 of them allow you to bring your pets if you have them in carriers. You cannot bring your pets to the high school. All the other locations, you can bring your pets. So please be thinking and remembering all those, not just one that's close to your home, because you might be out shopping or somewhere and need to take cover. So be thinking about those. Little House on the Prairie is open, so if you're looking for something fun to do this weekend or any day of the week, go out to Little House on the Prairie, and they're open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 5, Sunday, 1 to 5. I always like to tell people that they have, of course, the schoolhouse and the post office and the gift store and the log cabin and lots of fun things to do out there, but they also have kind of a mini petting zoo. So grab some apples and some oats, and you can go out and feed the miniature donkeys and the mules and have a good time out on the prairie. Today, if you have little kids, as soon as you pick them up from school, go right across the street from Jefferson School. It's Country Place Senior Living. They're having an Easter egg hunt from 3:30 to 4:30. Everybody's been cooped up because of COVID, and the residents in the care facilities and senior living especially. So they're going to be keeping them at a safe distance, but throwing some eggs, I think, in the front yard. So 3:30 to 4:30, bring the kids and let them hunt eggs at Country Place Senior Living. Tomorrow is recycling, and that is the first Saturday of the month. So you won't want to miss out on that. If you have recycling in your garage you need to get rid of. The sanitation yard is open from 11 to 1, and you can drop off all your recycling, your large debris, appliances, furniture, get rid of all that stuff. They're also open on Tuesday. Hold up, I'm getting ahead of myself. They're open on tomorrow from 8 to noon. On Tuesdays, they're open from 11 to 1, and then on Thursdays, they're open again from 8 to 2. You just can't drop off your recycling on that time, but you can always drop off all your junk. It's a gift that our city gives to all of us to help beautify the community and help us to keep our property clean. So when you go tomorrow, you're going to get a little bit of an early Love Independence Day gift because the Independence Pirate football team will be there. 4 big guys and probably another big guy, who's the coach, are going to be there helping you unload your cars and doing a little bit of Love Independence volunteerism while they're there. And then they're going to be going to AWOL from 1:30 to 3:30. So, and they walk the dogs out there as part of some community service. So if you want to drop off some dog and cat food at AWOL, they are accepting donations. So when you go to drop off your recycling tomorrow, you're going to get a Love Independence Day card from the football players, and on the back it tells you that they're there volunteering. So we'll be talking about these cards a little bit more in just a second. I want to let you know it's not on the calendar, but we are going to have some visitors in our community. The Republican Women of Eisenhower series will be traveling around the state. In this particular session, they land in Independence. They've been doing this for the last couple of years, and as they travel around southeast Kansas. So we're excited to be able to host them. They're coming in tonight, staying in the hotels, and learning more about the southeast Kansas region. The Easter egg hunt is tomorrow. We have the Park and Zoo Director, Angela Anthony, who will be here to give a shout out at the end about the Easter egg hunt and everything you need to know. And I want to remind you that I believe Cantrell's and Apricot Lane are doing kind of an Easter egg hunt in their store, possibly. So you want to check that out. I think they have some eggs you can open up and win some prizes. And I want to remind everyone that the food box distribution is every Tuesday. So these boxes have fresh meat and produce and dairy products in them. The distribution starts at 10:30, and it's out in the Park Oval. And it will be going through April. As of right now, if we estimate what we will be giving out by the end of April, since this started during the pandemic, we've given out estimated 16,000 boxes of food, and over 1,200 volunteer hours have been spent making sure that we distribute that food to our community to help those who would benefit from that. There's no income requirement. There's no need or anything. You just get in line and load up the boxes in your car, and if you don't need one but you know someone who does and they just can't make it, then load one up and take it to them and drop it off on their front porch maybe. April the 7th is the American Red Cross blood drive, so mark that on your calendar. Wednesdays and Thursdays are always fun times at Indy Brew Works. They have some activities going on, but I want to let you know that they also have a newsletter, and if you go to their Facebook page and their Instagram page, you'll see all the activities that they have. So like they have beer yoga and all kinds of fun things that are starting to kick into gear, so be sure and check that out. And remember that our brewery is a piece of tourism. A lot of people come into our community just for the brewery, and it's a family-friendly place to be. They have custom brews, local wines, and some great root beer, so you can bring the family and hang out at the brewery for a good time. We're going to have some more visitors in town. So tourism is doing well in our community. We have Pheasants Forever Bird Dog Classic that is scheduled for April 10th and the 11th. They're going to be in town out at Remington Ranch. So I just say that in case you see some people that look unfamiliar and maybe they have on orange. They're here for the Pheasants Forever event, and we appreciate them because they spend money in our community, stay in our hotels, and help us with our economy. The park's going to open on April the 10th. Angela's going to do a shout out about that. Lots of fun things in the park, and it'll wrap up with a movie night, so we'll want to make sure everybody knows about that. On your calendar, you're going to see Osage Days. That is the 10th and the 11th, those 2 days. There's some activities out in the band shell and at the Performing Arts Center at the high school. And then on the 11th, there'll be some activities at the Civic Center. Those activities are listed on their Facebook page, on their website, and then there's a flyer over on the flyer table that you can pick up too that will give you lots of information. We mentioned Sunday Fun Days coming up on the 11th with the Cornhole Tournament at Dickey's, and then followed by on April 14th and the 28th, Blues and Barbecue at Dickey's as well. If you've not been there to listen to Martin and the Dead Guys, you're missing out, so make sure you get that on your calendar. Something that's not on your calendar, I knew I was leaving something off. I told the girls it'll come to me, and it did after the fact when these went to print. But Doug Harlan wanted me to let everyone know, all of you here in the listening audience, that on the third Thursday at the VFW from 9 to 3, a veterans representative from Wichita will be available for veterans to help them file claims with the VA. So that's important information to get out. And then wrapping up the month will be the Kansas Airstrip Attack, Saturday and Sunday, the 17th and 18th. This event's going to be super cool. So this is side-by-side drag racing down the airport's runway with Lamborghinis and Porsches and Ferraris and modified BMWs and Mustangs and all kinds of super cool cars that are going close to 200 miles an hour. Lori and Greg Kelly had their vets out there last year. Paul Lemon had his motorcycle out there going crazy fast out on the runway. They had about 40 drivers last year, and they have close to 120 this year. So they've sold out of both hotels out at west of town, and now they're moving in town to fill up the Apple Tree, but they're excited, and their ticket sales are up. They think we're going to have more than about 400 or 500 more than we had last year, and there's still tickets to be sold. So they're going to have roll racing as well. They're going to have car clubs from Kansas City coming out, lots of fun things. To Be Smokin's going to be there with their food truck. You can get tickets at airstripattack.co, and if you get them in advance, you save like $5 on a ticket. So you'll want to be sure and check that out. If you can't go, you can always see all these cars at the after party on Saturday night. They will be down at Brothers Railroad Inn. We blocked off the street in front of Brothers. There's going to be a band, and the cars will be out there so you can see them. But then we realized, but there's not enough room for all these cars. So I reached out to Chief Harrison, and he went to the commission, or is going to the commission to ask for us to be able to block off the block in front of Uncle Jack's so that we can have additional cars downtown. So we're giving out an all call and an alert to all of the restaurants and bars because it's going to be busy. Lots of other. There's night on your calendars. Motorcycles are going to be hitting the road. There's May the 1st and May 15th, they're going to be at Sassy's and the VFW. It's a summer session of just getting out and riding those motorcycles. There's Pirate Football, Garden City on the 17th. You won't want to miss that. And then Love Independence Day. I just want to mention something about that. Love Independence Day is on the 24th of this month. It's always the last Saturday. And last year, because of COVID, we weren't able to really get out and spread the love like we wanted to. We kind of did a Love Independence 2.0 in the fall, painted some houses and did some things. But the day is really all about getting out as individuals, as family members, as church members, as youth groups, as civic organizations and clubs and businesses and organizations to just do something nice for somebody. And so we're encouraging everyone to get out and do that. We have Love Independence Day cards that we'll custom make for you. So if you'll just come to us and say, can you make me some cards? So like Community National Bank, when they get ready to do theirs, they always have us do something on the back side that is a special message from Community National Bank, and then they give those out when they're doing their random act of kindness. Or if you're just an individual and you want them to say something specific, let us know. We'll print these off for you and get that information out to people on Love Independence Day so that they know who you are and why they're getting this random act of kindness. So you like go through the drive-through and you pay for the person behind you and you hand the cashier this card, and then they give it to the person behind, the next person in line, obviously, along with their food, and then they know why they got it on that particular day. We do it all year round, but a little extra love on the 24th. And then April's going to be giving a shout out about a special Love Independence Day t-shirt. You're going to hear from her at the end, and we'll have flyers for you to pick up. This is a Making Days Bright t-shirt, and it's all about our friend that we lost in January, Jerry Bright, and his love for our community and a way to honor him. So hang around and listen to April as she shares that information, and then we're going to love on our four-legged friends because we're going to do a dedication to Remington. There's going to be a bronze statue revealed on that Love Independence Day as well, and his owner is going to be here, Rusty, and tell us about that as a shout out at the end. And then Paul Molnar is going to give a shout out about some theater that's happening out in the park. And I want to tell you another Love Independence Day gift that our city is giving us is every day from the April 19th through the 24th from 7 to 3, the sanitation yard will be open. It's beautiful weather, it's spring, people are cleaning up, and we want to make it available to people. So we had a meeting yesterday, and Kelly and John and David all said, let's open it up all week long. So mark your calendar and get some cleaning done on the 19th through the 24th. You can find all this information on our website, our Facebook page, which is Get Independence, the calendar of events, radio spots that we have, that we run throughout the week, and lots of radio interviews. And if you have any information you want us to include on our calendar, or if we got anything wrong, be sure and let us know. And we work hard to make sure we get good information out to you. So spread the word, tell everybody all the things that are happening in our community. With that, we're going to start our speakers. We work really hard to get some good people in front of our audience, and this month is no different. We've got 4 great speakers this morning. We have our city manager, Kelly Passeur, who's going to be talking about this packet of information that you'll be getting in the mail. It's a community engagement survey. We have our new city engineer, John Garris, who is here to give us some updates. We have our city commissioner, Dean Hayes, who's going to talk about some grant programs and housing projects. And we have our past city commissioner and entrepreneur and business owner, Gary Hogsett, who's going to be talking about investing in downtown. And then at the end, we have 7 people that are going to be doing shout outs for 30 seconds. It'll take 2.5 minutes, and it's worth making sure you listen to those shout outs. So with that, I'm going to step away from the podium, and we're going to welcome our city manager, Kelly Passeur.
Thank you, Lisa. I think she does such a great job. I think she needs to be a news anchor, but we don't want to lose her. So, I just want to say good morning to everybody this morning. And before I get started on my topic on the survey, I wanted to let you know that we are applying for a KDOT cost share grant for Sycamore from 10th to 21st Street. This is the same program that we awarded the project on Maple from Peter Pan to 17th. I think you'll all agree both those streets are definitely in need of some love. And so one of the things that took us over the edge on the Maple Street project is we had a lot of support letters. So if you would be so inclined to write a support letter for this project, just get with me or David or John or Lacey, and we can set you up. The deadline for that grant is the 9th, so I just wanted to throw that out there. We could really use some support letters for the Sycamore project. So with that, I'm going to get started. I want to visit with you today about an opportunity for you to provide us with some feedback that will help us prioritize future city initiatives. And I'm shorter than Lisa, so I'm going to bring this down. In September of 2018, a 5-year community-based strategic plan was adopted by the City Commission. The plan was developed based on community input gathered through public citizen engagement sessions, a 9-member citizen committee, and a citizen survey. The most important element of this plan was community input. Commissioner Leonard Kaflish, who was mayor at the time, stated, "Each citizen can see different needs within our community, and only when we come together can we adequately address them." Mayor Louis Ususi, who was commissioner at the time, stated, "The committee spent countless hours processing surveys and open meeting information to help them identify where we need to focus our efforts as a city. A 5-year plan was developed based on the input of the community at large. Citizens were the driving force in determining the areas most important to them and providing the city a blueprint of how to address these issues in the future. The priorities identified by the community will help the city plan and allocate resources toward meeting the needs of the public as we move forward." The resulting plan prioritized 5 strategic directives. Number 1, economic development. Number 2, infrastructure. Number 3, beautification. Number 4, park and recreation. Number 5, community spirit and unity. One of the key initiatives for community spirit and unity was to conduct a citizen satisfaction survey to gather resident opinions and feedback to improve city services and determine future needs. Now that we are at the midpoint of the community-based strategic plan, we are launching that survey today, and we need your assistance. The survey can be completed in 2 ways, either in paper form, which will be mailed to all city utility customers within the next week, with a postage-paid return envelope enclosed, or by going to the city's website at independenceks.gov. There you will find a banner and a newsflash, and both will have a link that will take you directly to the survey. The survey is anonymous and will be processed and analyzed by Tanner LLC, a consulting firm specializing in local governmental research and development. This is a more in-depth survey than the initial citizen survey you may remember when we launched the strategic plan process in 2018. Because of that, it is a longer survey. If you can complete the entire survey, that would be very helpful. However, if you do not have time to complete all sections, please complete the sections that are most important to you. Although the deadline to complete the survey is April 28th, I would encourage you to complete the survey as soon as possible after you receive it, as we want to ensure we receive your input, which we take very seriously. You may ask yourself, why should you take the time to fill out this survey? Now think back to 2018, when the initial citizen survey was conducted as compared to today. Did any of you envision all the events that have occurred? Were the words pandemic, virtual meetings part of your vocabulary in 2018? A lot has changed since then, not only globally and regionally, but locally as well. Because of these changes, we have all had to adapt to the new normal. Another buzz term that would not have been familiar to us a few years ago. And it hasn't been easy. In fact, it's been incredibly hard on our citizens, not only those that got ill, but those whose jobs or businesses were affected, parents whose children's schooling and daycare were affected, neighbors, family, and friends that were isolated and suffering from loneliness and the fear of the unknown, and those that lost loved ones and were not able to grieve and celebrate their lives with family and friends in the way that we had all been accustomed to all of our lives. On the bright side, compare where we are today as compared to where we were a little over a year ago. As more and more of our citizens get vaccinated, you can see a glimmer of hope in their eyes. While we are not completely out of the woods, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. You may see things in a different light today than you did 2.5 years ago. The community priorities that were most important to you then may be different today. We need that feedback. It is vital to helping us continue to serve the community appropriately. And speaking of light, I would like to talk about a bright light. The community-based strategic plan in 2018 would not have been possible without the 9-member citizen committee appointed by the City Commission. One of the members of that committee was Jerry Bright. Jerry passed away on January 6th of this year. Because of the pandemic, his celebration of life services was delayed until last Saturday. It was very obvious at that service how many lives Jerry had touched and the diversity of those lives. But of course, this wasn't new to any of us that knew Jerry. The day before his service, I posted a photo of Jerry and me taken at the 2020 chamber banquet. We had an extra seat at our table, and I had asked Jerry if he would like to go. So we joked that he was my date that night. So don't tell my husband. But he totally knew, so it was okay. With the photo I posted, Jerry Bright was an example for us all. He was the bridge over troubled waters, creating a pathway for people with skills or resources to come together to help those in need. Tomorrow is the celebration of life, a life well lived, serving others before himself. At the service the next day, several people spoke, including several of you here today. One of those speakers was April Nutt, and April said something that I thought described Jerry to a T. She said, Jerry's gift was unity. I could not agree more. After all, you can't have a complete community without unity. Jerry was passionate about this community, which is one of the reasons he agreed to serve on the Strategic Planning Advisory Committee, or SPAC as we refer to it. And you can see Jerry's influence throughout the plan that was adopted. Under one example, under Strategic Directive Community Spirit and Unity, which states, I want to live in a community that feels like an extension of my family, one where we can trust the city's decisions, one where we see the best in one another, and that no matter your background, you feel like you belong. Jerry recognized the importance of having community involvement in future decisions that affect those that live, work, and play here. He believed that everyone should have a voice. That same section of the plan stated that citizens should feel like their voices are being heard and that kindness and respect permeate public dialogue. Every citizen and visitor of Independence should feel included in the Independence family. Please share your voice and tell us the things that are most important to you so that we can work together to build upon the excellent quality of life we all enjoy in our community, our family of Independence. If you would like to get a head start, we did bring some extra copies of the letter and survey today, which are over on the table over there. Or as stated earlier, you can visit the city's website at independenceks.gov and fill it out electronically. If you have any questions, please contact my office at 332-2506. Thank you for listening to me today, and thank you for the honor and privilege of serving you as your city manager.
Good job, Kelly. We're glad you're our city manager, too. This is what she was talking about, so look for this over on the table if you want, or look for it in your mail coming soon. All right, our next speaker up is an unfamiliar face for more reasons than one. I've met him already, but I've never seen him without a mask. And yesterday we were in a meeting, and he had his mask on, and I think he took it down to take a drink of something, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know what you look like. So it's funny, this new normal that we're living in, Kelly. So at this time, would you please welcome a face that will soon be familiar to all, our new city engineer, John Garris.
Thank you very much. And good morning. As Lisa said, I'm John Garris, and I'm with the City of Independence Utility, Public Works, and Engineering Departments. I'll start off by noting this is probably the earliest I've ever given a speech before so many people, but I've always dreamt of doing that. Just like the author Crystal Wood said, when reality and your dreams collide, that's probably your alarm clock going off. So anyway, I'm here this morning to give a brief update of what's going on as far as some of the projects that we're working on. Of course, there are many more that I'm listing, but I thought I'd give you a few highlights of the ones that might impact you in the coming months and years. I'll start off with water. We have a great facility that produces wonderful water, but some of the parts of the facility are old, dating to the 1920s. Before I showed up and started this job in January, we were already working on a master plan for the city's future water needs. We're looking to create a plan that will allow us to continue to produce safe and reliable water for the next 40 years. This is a chance to plan for the future so that we can do the right things to continue a safe and reliable drinking water supply and to make sure that we do those things with excellence. Projects from the master plan will primarily be conducted over the next 5 years. The plan isn't quite complete, but as we develop more details, these will be shared with the community. A second water project that we're working on is advanced meter and line replacement. The current situation is that we use mechanical water meters that must be read by a person every month. 4,000 water meters. Actually, it's more than 4,000. Technology exists to connect those meters electronically to a database. These meters will provide data on water usage much more easily than is done currently. Additionally, we'll be looking to replace some older water distribution lines on this project that we have to fix a lot. These lines are in the area south of the high school to the railroad tracks between 10th and 13th Street. And the completion of this project is scheduled in and around the year 2022, which still sounds futuristic for some reason. Wastewater, there's more projects that we're working on there. Again, we're looking on replacing 100-year-old infrastructure in many parts of the city. We're looking to create a new lift station to transport wastewater to our wastewater treatment plant. And we're looking at new wastewater piping around the First and Birch neighborhood, near the Westminsterman neighborhood, and around Second and Locust. One exciting note is we received a community development block grant for funding for $700,000 of this work. The work's going to cost significantly more than that, but it's nice that the city has gone to the effort to get those grants to provide economic development and to help pay for our infrastructure. As we look to our streets, current projects are between 8th and 10th on West Main. We're going to do a complete rebuild of the street in conjunction with KDOT, including the sidewalks. The total estimated project cost is about $1.4 million, and it's projected to start in November. The KDOT share will be around $1 million. Also, we're looking at a complete rebuild of Maple Street from 17th to the city limits. This is going to overlay Maple and we're also going to overlay Maple from 10th to 17th. The total projected cost for that combined project is around $2.7 million, and the KDOT share is going to be roughly $2 million. And another focus, and it's not big and exciting like some of these, is we're looking at patching and repairing our roads. We're looking at creating a maintenance process so that our roads last longer. We have a tremendous investment in our roadway, and we want to make it last. And the ice storm. For most of us, the ice storm is just a really kind of cold, wet memory. However, we had 30 major leaks on our water system in 5 days. In 2020, for comparison, we fixed 163 of those, 163 leaks for the year. So during the storm, our water crew repaired nearly 20% of the repairs that they did in the entire year for 2020 in 5 very, very long 24-hour days. Some of this was in the dark, and almost all of it was in very low temperatures. But the ice storm has passed us, right? No. If you drive around, there are still utility holes in the roads. We're attempting to fix those, and again, fix those so that those repairs last. And yeah, when you're filling up that many holes and trying to do a good job, it's going to run us probably till the end of the month if weather and everything goes in our direction. We're also working on our airport. We're doing new marking and paving projects starting late this spring and ending next year. With the airport, we're doing about a total in the next year of about $1.6 million worth of projects, 90% of which is funded by either the FAA or KDOT. Again, multiplying our city's dollars to create a tremendous investment for us. We're also working on refurbishing the terminal out at the airport, and that should be starting this summer. One other exciting piece that we're working on is a unified public works and utilities building. Currently, the city's equipment is spread out over multiple sites. The water distribution and the street department are in different places, and the sanitation department is in yet a different place. If we combine the locations, we can eliminate redundancy where it isn't necessary by sharing those resources. We can also increase our teamwork by working from a central location. And right now, again, we're at the front end of that project, but it's projected to be completed in 2022. Working with the recreation department to help create a city that we love to live in, going back to Love Independence. We're working on a Central Park project. This is a new project near where the ball fields are now, and this is at the very front end of that project, we're working in conjunction with the City Recreation Commission to create soccer fields and improve our current baseball and softball facilities. This is an emerging project where we're working on getting the details right, and there'll be more information to come. Something that's more immediate, our pool, which is a wonderful asset for the city, and it's a fantastic place to send the kids off in the summer. We're looking at resurfacing all the submerged surfaces at the pool. This is anticipated to take place shortly and to be completed prior to the opening of the pool this summer. As I've said, there are many other projects that the city and the talented people there are working on. This is just a sample. And I've come to the end of my speech. The earliest speech I've given. So I'd like to quote Lewis Black, "I like coffee because it gives me the illusion that I might be awake." Thank you.
Well, thank you. We appreciate, my goodness, you got a lot on your plate, but we appreciate everything that you're doing. So you can all hang around afterwards and visit with John one-on-one if you have some questions, and I'm sure he would welcome any phone calls. If you have any concerns or any questions or comments, you can just give him a call up at City Hall. Next up, our third speaker for this morning is our City Commissioner, Dean Hayes, working hard to make great decisions for our community and on our behalf. He's going to be speaking about the neighborhood revitalization grants along with some other very important information. So would you please welcome Dean Hayes.
Thank you, Lisa, and good morning, everyone. I am Commissioner Dean Hayes, and since this is going to be a bit of a data dump this morning, please know that you can, if you have any questions about this particular presentation or any other issues involving the city, I encourage you to call me or email me. My information is available on the city website. I'd love to hear from you. This morning, my task is to introduce you to 3 city programs established to enhance the appearance of properties in Independence and our efforts to revitalize the city and create economic value for residents and property owners of Independence. They are the Independence Land Bank, the Central Business District Commercial Building Grant, the Neighborhood Exterior Grant Program. I can see some of you have already begun to nod off, so let me tell you a story first and see if I can revive you. It seems there's a salesman that he arrived at a farm and he noticed that there was a pig with a wooden leg. He asked the farmer, "How'd that pig get a wooden leg?" And the farmer said, "Well, that's a mighty special pig right there. A wild boar attacked me in the woods, and that pig came and went after the boar and chased him away, saved my life." And the salesman said, "And the boar hurt his leg?" "Oh, no, he was fine," said the farmer, "but we had a fire. It started in the barn, and well, that pig started squealing and woke us up, and before we got out there, he had herded all the animals out of the barn and saved them all. So that's when he hurt his leg." "Oh, no, he was fine. But when I tripped down the hill and fell into the pond, I was knocked out. When I came to, the pig dragged me out before I had drowned, saved my life again. Special pig. So that's when he hurt his leg." "Oh, no, he was fine." Then the salesman said, "So please tell me, how did that pig get a wooden leg?" And the farmer said, "Well, you don't eat a pig like that all at once." Well, some of you might say that you don't eat a pig like that at all, but the farmer still saw the pig as food, while the visitor saw the pig as something wonderful and amazing. Sometimes if you're too close to an issue, you cannot see its potential. So these city programs are designed to help us see the potential that exists in our own neighborhoods and our own properties. We all tend to use the tools and behaviors which are well understood and available, but if you only use the tool, if the only tool in your toolbox is a hammer, all the problems start to look like nails. The city has a process that involves condemnation and demolition of derelict houses, but that's one tool the city has to improve neighborhoods, but it's really the tool of last resort. City staff and the Economic Development Advisory Board have been working hard to develop these programs as additional tools to use to revitalize neighborhoods and invigorate our local economy. Let's start with the Independence Land Bank. The City Commission established the Independence Land Bank, and with initial funding from the Independence Housing Authority, it's ready to roll out. Cities like Independence frequently find, because of population decline, because of declining property, private investment, and other financial realities, they have private property that's unkept and in disrepair. This has a negative effect on every other structure in the neighborhood. The Independence Land Bank will focus on the conversion of vacant, abandoned, tax delinquent, and otherwise underused properties and converting them into productive use. These problem properties destabilize neighborhoods, create fire and safety hazards, drive down property values, and drain local tax dollars. The land bank will strategically acquire problem properties, eliminate the liabilities, and transfer the properties to new responsible owners. This should result in outcomes consistent with the city's strategic plan, revitalization efforts, and economic growth. The land bank will have its own board of directors and budget and will operate with the oversight of the City Commission. The board of directors is not yet in place, but we are still looking for the right people. Also, an effort is already underway to develop a list of properties which are good candidates for the land bank. I hope you will support the land bank and its efforts to improve the condition of the city. So if you know of a vacant lot or other property that you think would be a good fit for the land bank, call the city office. They will put you in touch with the right person. If you're willing to do that, we'll be off to a great start for Independence Land Bank. I hope you will check it out and support its efforts. Now let's talk about the Central Business District Commercial Building Grant. That's a mouthful. But it's another very important tool for the city. The Central Business District is extremely important to the economic health of our community. It is a huge investment. It represents literally hundreds of millions of dollars of replacement cost. These structures, however, are aging. And several years ago, within a short time, several of them had critical problems with fascia stones falling out and walls moving around and bulging. and the barricades went up to close the sidewalks in downtown Independence. It looked like it was in trouble. The city convened a group of citizens and business owners to talk about the issue, and what came out of those discussions was the Central Business District Commercial Building Grant. The goal of the grant is to help building owners preserve the historical downtown business district. Building owners can apply for this grant and receive a reimbursement of 25% of the eligible expenses for structural and external repairs. You'll need to understand the eligibility of your repairs to see if what you plan to do is going to work with the grant. The Economic Development Advisory Board recently updated and refreshed the program, so if you're a building owner and are planning some needed repairs to your building, please contact the city or go to the website here for the Central Business District Commercial Building Grant and check it out. We've budgeted $50,000 for the year for this grant, and we want you to use it, so please do. We're all counting on it. We're all counting on the Central Business District. Now let's talk about the Independence Neighborhood Exterior Grant. This new grant was the effort of the Economic Development Advisory Board and is available to residents in the revitalization districts. I'm very excited to talk to you about this program, as I think it's the beginning of something very big. This program helps homeowners living in the neighborhood revitalization districts reinvest in their properties and improve their neighborhoods. 2 or more neighboring homeowners must submit co-applications to participate. The City of Independence will reimburse each co-applicant a portion of the actual cost of investments to their homes. Housing is high on any list of traits needed for economic growth. If we start by partnering with the residents who are willing to invest in their property, and we start with the neighborhoods in our neighborhood revitalization districts, we can get a substantial return on our investment. Confidence is the currency that all neighborhoods trade on. When confidence is shaken within the neighborhood, the residents begin to withhold normal investments in their house. For example, the first neighbor sees the decline and decides not to paint their house. The neighbor across the street sees the first house begin to look unkept, and so they do the same. Before long, the cycle has been repeated throughout the neighborhood, and the sad result is a spiral of declining investment, lack of confidence, and further declining conditions. So if we want to see revitalization for many of it be scary to be the through the neighborhood is willing to partner with dollars for exterior. You'll get a minimum of 2 houses on your block to participate. And the more houses on your block that participate, the better, as this is what will build the confidence that we need. You can participate for as little as $1,000. No one wants to be the first and maybe the only house to do this project, but in groups, the projects make a noticeable impact. And then incrementally, year over year, the neighborhood improves. The house values improve in a normal way, and people begin to move into those neighborhoods because they know the homeowners care about maintenance and they take care of the property. We hope the connections between you and your neighbors will grow alongside the investment in the property. This is where the energy for improvement comes from. This is where confidence comes from. Knowing your neighbors are as willing as you are and interested as you are in building and improving the neighborhood you live in. Please talk to your neighbors about participating in the Neighborhood Exterior Grant Program. This program is catching on. Yesterday, we added 4 participating houses. If you have questions, call the city or visit the website listed up here. We'd be glad to talk to you. We have $50,000 budgeted for this grant this year, and we want you to use it up. So please do. We're all counting on it. So I just covered 3 programs which we're offering through the City of Independence: the Independence Land Bank, the Central Business District Commercial Grant Program. Potential. Please don't be like the farmer in my story. See the potential in these programs. Use these programs. Talk to your neighbors about these programs. Take advantage of them and tell your friends about them. That's the way they're most likely to work. Thank you for your attention this morning.
We are very, very fortunate to have all of the things that we have available to us in our community, the money that our city invests in all of us as citizens and gives us these opportunities to beautify and maintain and take care of our businesses and our homes and everything. So we are thankful for everything that the city provides us, and we're very thankful for the 3 city commissioners that we have that meet regularly and work hard to try to do what's best for our community, and I appreciate our city leadership as well. So we're lucky, aren't we? I think we should give them a round of applause. I agree. Very, very fortunate. One other thing that we're fortunate to have is a very thriving and beautiful downtown, and that is because of the work of a lot of people, our business owners who have invested in properties downtown, our Main Street organization, and it doesn't just happen. We're so very, very fortunate to have a vibrant community and a vibrant downtown. When we get people into the Chamber of Commerce, they comment all the time about, you have a beautiful downtown. There's so many super cool stores, and those stores would not exist if we didn't have people who are interested in investing in our community and opening up stores and being in the retail business and being in the restaurant business. Those are hard businesses to be in, and particularly in the middle of a situation of COVID-19. So with that, I want to, I want to welcome the business owner I mentioned before, Gary Hogsett. He's going to come up and talk to us all about some uplifting information regarding investing in our downtown. Please welcome Gary.
Thank you, Lisa. I feel really bad now that I don't have a pig joke since I'm in a barbecue restaurant. I will definitely borrow that one next time around. Leave it to Dean to come up with jokes like that. And Dean, where did you hide the thing? Oh, here we go.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay, no worries, thanks. So, just see if this thing really works. Oh my gosh, it does. Good morning again. A lot of you were here on July of 2014 to hear Roger Brooks, I believe, in this very room. Although we were facing that direction that day. I don't know why. I've never seen us face that direction before. Larry McHugh was there filming it as usual. And Roger Brooks is a very, very widely recognized expert on reviving downtowns. We paid him a lot of money. He came and spent time here. He wrote us an exhaustive report. And if you haven't read it lately, I'm going to ask you to either get it out if you still have it, or if you don't have it, write your email address on a piece of paper and give it to me, and I will email it to you. It's a valuable, valuable piece of information. We paid a lot of money for it. The guy spent a lot of time. He's an expert. He's widely regarded as the #1 expert in the world on reviving downtowns. And he gave us a very detailed report, and Larry McHugh recorded it. It's also, you can listen to his presentation on YouTube. Just to go to YouTube and type in Independence, Kansas, Roger Brooks, and it's about a 3-hour presentation. We have made some progress on some of the things that he brought up. One of his biggest ones that he talked about relentlessly was signage. Somebody's driving through town, needs a break. They might stop and see our zoo if they knew we had one. So he said the signage here is terrible, and we've been really working on it since. You can't tell it that much yet, but I think we have a speaker maybe next time to talk about the signage. So I'm not going to talk about that, but I'm going to talk about some of the other stuff that Roger pointed out. So his report, even though it's 100 pages, doesn't take all that long to read because it's a lot of photos of cities that do things well and cities that are not doing things so well. But he says people want a place to gather, and nothing attracts people to a place like other people. You've got to have people downtown or it looks barren. And he said you've got beautiful buildings, but your downtown is very stark and uninviting. He didn't pull any punches. You know, you don't see this kind of thing in downtown Independence. You still don't, although we're doing better. He said you got to have people, you got to have an inviting atmosphere, you have benches for them to sit on, and you got to have growing things. At the time we had no trees. We do have trees now. But he said you got to have plants. You got to have flowering plants all summer, and it just makes people want to be downtown. So that's something we need to continue to think about and work on when people are looking for projects. There's so many opportunities to make our downtown more inviting. This is all these photos are the first dozen or so I clipped right out of his report. This is one he said, this city reminded me a lot of Independence. Beautiful buildings, they're mostly well-maintained, but there's just nothing there to make that look inviting. So he said after I worked with them, their city looked like that a short time later. They did a project to get planters and flowers for all the downtown stores. He said the day that went up, the traffic and business sales went up 25%. Just by making the downtown more inviting. So again, that's something we need to be thinking about constantly. This is another picture, obviously not Independence, but he kept saying you've got to have outdoor seating. It's an absolute must. People want to gather, and they want to gather outdoors now more than ever, frankly. But if people see other people having a good time, they will want to go check it out. And that's what drives people to your business. We have friends that go visit some small town every weekend because they'll say, well, it's just such a charming little town, and it's wonderful, and it's hopping, and I want Independence to be that way too. We're not that far. We've got a fantastic downtown. We just got to keep working on it. This is another picture from his report saying on the holidays, it's not that big an effort to make the downtown irresistible, where people see it and they want to go, and people will drive 100. People come from Tulsa because they'll say, you've just got to go see this beautiful little place in Independence, Kansas. We've talked about it for years, doing some holiday lighting at Christmas time. I think it's time to do it. I know Tabitha has talked about it, and we've had people offer to chip in some of the money. It obviously does take some money. I think I heard a figure of maybe $20,000 to light the downtown. I think it's very well worth doing. So he did show a couple slides of our downtown that he said, these are people doing things right. So this is Twigs, which looked gorgeous, and this was Cherry Berry, which also looked gorgeous. Unfortunately, didn't make it, no longer in business. But those were a couple examples that he said, we just have to do this. We have to make it look inviting. Give people a reason to come downtown. This is also from his report. He gave Magnolias, Brian and Ryan, the award for the most curb appeal in downtown Independence. He said, use the term curb appeal over and over. Just like when you look at a house, you almost can decide whether you're going to fall in love with the house from the car. You know, as you're out at the curb, you look at it and say, I love this house. Same thing with the downtown. You've got to give it curb appeal. And he didn't point out a lot of examples that we were doing great, honestly. I just showed you the main two he pointed out, and he did say Magnolias is the example we all need to follow. Now, this is from his report. Try to guess whether he said this was inviting. I mean, anybody got a guess? Okay, I'll just tell you. So here's what he said, and he didn't pull any punches. I don't know, those of you that heard him might remember, he did not beat around the bush. He said, that is butt ugly. You know, he meant it was butt ugly. So here's what he said on this one. Would you eat here if you didn't know anything about it? What kind of impression does it make? Visitors won't try a place that looks like this. He didn't say they might not or they probably won't try a place that looks like this. He said visitors will not try a place that looks like this. So we've got to keep that in mind. I'm going to show you that I believe that building has tremendous potential because here's what it looks like now. A vast improvement, in my opinion. Of course, my wife and I did the renovation, but you know, and it does look a lot better. And we're trying to chip away at the worst buildings downtown. It's a slow process, but I think we're making great progress. He mentioned his critical mass rule. I don't know if any of you remember that. He called it his 10 plus 10 plus 10 rule. And I think we need to be reminded of this occasionally. He said, you've got to have 10 places that sell food downtown. He said, if you will do these, if you'll have this 10 plus 10 plus 10, people will flock to your downtown. And a lot of them we have, so we're not that far from being a very, very successful downtown. And, he said, in any book you read on city management will say the downtown is the heart of the city. If the downtown is dead, the city is not going to be thriving. And so we need to keep that in mind. So 10 places that sell food, 10, and he calls them destination retail shops. Destination meaning there's none other like it. He doesn't call the Sears a destination because there are other Sears around, but like Magnolia's, he gave an example, or Flea's Antiques, because it's not a chain. There's no other, there's not 100 Flea's Antiques. It's unique. So he said 10 destination retail shops, bookstores, garden supplies, hardware stores, whatever, but 10 destination stores downtown. And then he said, this is the toughest one, I think, 10 places open after 6 p.m. And he said, that's a must. You've got to have a nightlife downtown or it will never happen. He said that over and over and over. And we're falling down badly on that one. We've let the downtown kind of peter away at night, especially Sunday nights where, talk about rolling up the sidewalks. There's just nothing going on downtown Sunday night. I think we may be the only ones open downtown on Sunday nights right now. But we've got to get more things going on in the evening. And we're working on that. I'm really pleased to tell you that all the downtown restaurant and bar owners, have formed a consortium where we meet regularly and talk about things we can do to start meeting these goals and get more people coming downtown. And we've tried some things already, and we're trying some more things. You'll hear about some more things today, but we're trying desperately to get people downtown. As was said earlier by the previous speakers, it's been a tough year to be in the restaurant business, or especially if you own a movie theater. People have been tending to stay home. The food places like Sonic, where people, take the food or eat in their car, have had a booming year. But the people that don't have drive-thrus, like our downtown businesses, are hurting bad. If you have a downtown restaurant you love, whether it's Big Cheese, Brothers, Turbos, whatever, please make a point to go out there. Make a point to go support them. Go eat dinner. This is another picture from his report. And he said, it's great that you have a bike shop, but this is not inviting. There's nothing to draw people in. And that we had a bike shop in town, and I wish we still had a bike shop. Every time we walked by that place, we thought, if he says we need a lot of outdoor seating, someplace where people can sit outdoors and other people will see them, makes it look more inviting, that's the one. To us, that was always the building where it needed to have seating out there in that covered area. So when we heard the bike shop was going out of business, we aggressively pursued that building, chased it for a long time because it was in lawsuits and things, but we ended up buying it at a, not a tax sale, but a, foreclosure sale or something. So anyway, this is what it looks like today, the front of that building. So we have now 12 tables out there, seating for 30 people. And we felt like this was something the downtown really, really needed. According to Roger, got to have outdoor seating. Now, I took that last night at dinner time at 6 o'clock. So you can see we have not even remotely achieved our goal of having people sitting outside eating, because there's not a single person sitting outside eating. So we are planning to start bribing people. If you'll just come sit outside in our new tables, we will give you free barbecue or beer or something. I don't know exactly. But seriously, we are hoping we can get people making use of that outdoor seating, because it does draw people in. You can tell when there are people out there, more and more people are going to, like, doubles your business. It'd be almost worth paying people to sit out there in our table. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about our adventure that we've gone through, nightmare, whatever the word is, to try to get this building renovated. This is a wonderful historical building. So I'm told this photo was taken when President William Howard Taft visited Independence in 1911. That's his picture right there. And this is the building. This is the building that's now Dickey's. This is now Cantrell's. At the time, it was the City Hall, and they kept horses in the building for the fire engines. And this was a hardware store, which is now Apricot Lane. So the buildings have a wonderful storied history, and it's a fantastic building. We actually didn't know how fantastic when we bought it. Usually we have just unpleasant surprises when we buy an old building, but this one we actually had a very, very pleasant surprise. It was a bike shop, and when we took it over, it was filled with bike stuff, bikes, wheels, all kinds of things you might imagine in a bike shop, a service area. And we wanted to convert it into a gorgeous, fantastic restaurant. So we went to work. We had lots of issues. The upstairs, you can see over the years, roofs are so expensive. You put on a roof on a downtown building, you may spend $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. So what happens is people say, hey, these little kiddie pools at Walmart are only $7. So we'll go buy some kiddie pools, put them upstairs, and we'll just collect the rainwater in the kiddie pools. I'm telling you, there's dozens of downtown buildings. You go upstairs, you're going to find kiddie pools filled with rainwater. I wish it weren't the case, but it is. So that's the way the ceiling looked when we bought the building. And we had a massive project. And by we, I mean Dean Hayes. Dean did all the work. I did none of it. But Dean made the mistake of telling me he was bored being retired. So I said, Dean, would you like to take all that garbage out of that building and tear down all that old lath and plaster? And he said, yeah. I mean, okay, so he's not the brightest guy, clearly. But he is a workhorse, and he is really, Dean has done so much work. We never would have gotten where we're on any of these, including the one I just showed you at the bakery. Dean did most of the work on that too. We decided to go with Dickey's. Dickey's is the largest barbecue chain in the world. They have around 700 restaurants. They're in several countries. And the problem is when we started, we wanted to have barbecue here. We're barbecue nuts. I couldn't get the Burskins to open a restaurant, darn it, because they were like, no, that's too much work. We just want to do it when we feel like it. Right, guys? Isn't that just what you said? Yeah, it is just what you said. So even though we can't compete with them quality-wise, we wanted to have a barbecue restaurant. And we talked to a lot of the chains. A lot of them want a standalone building. We kept saying, no, we have a building. We want to put a barbecue restaurant in. Most of them said, not interested. You have to be on the highway, you have to have a drive-through, or you just won't make it. Or we want to build our own building. Dickey's was willing to work with us, although they did say, you'll do better if you're on the highway and had a drive-through. You're going to wish you hadn't tackled this big a building. We are the world's biggest Dickey's, in fact. I feel funny saying that out loud, but there's no other Dickey's even remotely as big as this one. Our employees all ask if they can get Independence, Kansas, home of the world's biggest Dickey's, but we say no, we are so not doing that. So, anyway, the adventure started. This is what the mezzanine looked like. Those of you who shopped there might remember that the offices were upstairs. There were several offices, some storage closets, a big, heavy safe. And this was where our first adventure began because Annie and I were desperately hoping we didn't have to replace that whole ceiling. But it didn't look too stable because, again, someone over the life of that building did not repair the roof when it was leaking. So the roof had the ceiling had some soggy spots. And you can see, Annie and I walked up there one day, and we found this hole. This giant section of the ceiling had fallen out. It was clearly rotten, and so we stood up there and cried. We're like, we do not have money in the budget to replace this monster ceiling. But we got up above the ceiling and found this. We never expected to find that up there. Like I said, we don't usually have good luck when we tackle old buildings. We just have bad luck. But we loved that ceiling. We're like, okay, this could be just the coolest thing ever. And it's a barbecue restaurant. That might not look great in a department store, but it looks fantastic in a barbecue restaurant. It's a barrel arch, and it's magnificent. It's 40 feet high at the center. And so you can go up on the mezzanine and enjoy that view. This is when they were putting all the pipe work from like our pit. We burn wood and smoke all our meat right there in the kitchen. We had to run a 40-foot flue up through the ceiling, which, again, no other Dickey's has ever tackled anything like this. So even Dickey's was a little perplexed on how we would make this happen. And then I mentioned we had a safe. The safe was trying to work its way through the floor of the mezzanine. The mezzanine was not really designed for that kind of weight. It weighed several thousand pounds. I called every moving company within 200 miles. I kept calling further and further out, can you move safes? All of them declined. And then somebody said to me one day, well, Taylor Crane and safe. And I'm thinking, I can't imagine. I mean, it's a crane company. We can't get a crane in the building. So I called Jim Taylor, and he came down and looked at it and said, oh, this is nothing. This is a piece of cake. This is a walk in the park. I said, okay, great. Job's yours. We couldn't find anybody else that would even tackle it. So he sent a crew of 4 people to muscle that thing around. They attached cables to our roof and then hoisted up that thing from our roof and then swung it out over the edge of the mezzanine. And I couldn't watch. Literally, somebody else had to take this picture for me because I'm thinking that's going to tear down our roof, fall to the floor 12 feet below, through the floor into the basement. I was convinced that was going to happen. The crew chief said, yeah, but then at least it's off the mezzanine. It's hidden. It's in the basement. I said, how will we get it out of the basement? He says, why would we get it out of the basement? It'll be fine down there. It's out of sight. But again, Taylor Crane made it look like nothing. They lowered it down. The weight of it was supported by our roof, so we know our roof is strong, and rolled it out the building. So that was one little project that actually went pretty darn well. This is another project that I love to brag about. So this is the original stairway up to the mezzanine. And this railing, so these are solid steel, and they're square. And they take one and leave it square, and then the next one they twist it so that it's a decorative effect. And we said we'd like all the railings to match that. The contractor kept saying, not going to happen. No one does that anymore. There's no way to make those. We can't make it look, we can make it look a little bit like that, but you cannot do that anymore. But it turns out you can, because we have an amazing company out just south of town, Ironworks, Mark Lehman. He got the bid to do it, and it was a very good bid. And he said, I want to do it to match, I want all the railings to match the original. And I kept saying, Mark, I'm sorry, our budget is spent. We cannot do it. He said, well, I'm doing it anyway, because this is what we should do. This is the way all the railings should look. He has to have absolutely lost his shirt on this deal, because he insisted on designing a machine to twist these steel rods so he could make the new railings look just like the old ones. And they did. The railings out front were made that way, all the railings across the front of the mezzanine. And it's magnificent. For historic building nuts, these railings look just like the original. And like I said, I appreciate Mark already. He's now on my list of heroes. I have many heroes, but he's one of them, because this is just a magnificent job. Many of my heroes are in this room, by the way. Most of you know who you are. This is another project we did before we had a city engineer. Where were you, John? Where were you when I needed you? Come on. Yeah, whatever. Don't make excuses now. It's too late. So we had to put a sprinkler system in. So if you're ever in Dickies and the building catches fire, you don't need to worry about burning, but I hope you can swim, honestly, because that thing can move about 7 trillion gallons of water per second, and you'll be swimming out of that building if the sprinklers go off. But anyway, so the city dug the trench down the middle of the alley, put in the new, it's a big line, like a 6-inch water line for the sprinklers. And then you always backfill with gravel, right, John? You can't put the dirt back in because it's too hard to get it compacted right and all, so you fill it with gravel. And then you get down to the building, and you basically make a right turn. So this is the line coming down the alley this direction. Make a right turn into the building and bring that 6-inch line into the building. And what else might we bring into the building? Yeah, when it rains, that alley is a river. All the water from all the roofs, they're all sloped to the back. The alley is running deep in water. It all finds its way down into that gravel trough and right into our basement. So this is like, you see my brand new high efficiency furnaces we just put in? We hadn't even hooked them up, and we're already underwater. So this is one of those not so pleasant things, and unfortunately we did this several more times before we could get it all sealed. I hope on your list somewhere, John, you have that alley to resurface that alley, yeah. So another person to add to my list of heroes is Dave Cowan. Actually, he was already on my list of heroes. It's 2 in the morning and water is pouring in there like Niagara Falls. I've got 2 sump pumps running. They're not even remotely keeping up. I call Dave Cowan and wake him up at 2 in the morning. I say, Dave, my basement is just filling with water faster than I can pump it out. He says, I'll be right there. Dave Cowan shows up minutes later with a fire pump, sets it up, and starts pumping water out there. Immediately, the level stops rising and starts falling. And it's one of the worst nights of my life. You can see the look on my face. I'm going, why the hell did I think this was a good idea? But anyway, yeah, it's fixed now. So that was another little adventure. This is something else we thought was kind of fun. Annie and I would sit back there in the alley and scratch our heads going, why is that piece of sheet metal over a hole in the wall and it's rusting out? And it wasn't built like the windows. You could tell the windows. We knew it wasn't a window, but we finally figured out it was an old exhaust fan. So we got SEK Construction to come out, take off that sheet metal, and Woods built us a custom window to fit the opening, put a new window up there, because it's kind of fun to see that old exhaust fan up there. It's no longer connected. It doesn't. The mezzanine is gorgeous. It's magnificent. The walls are incredible. We hope to have crowds of people up in the mezzanine. So, in construction, this going up. This is the mezzanine, and this is the wall of our bar over here, and this wall here is where we have our up in order, and it happened pretty fast. It did not. Liz Moore in her column said, quit telling people it's going to be ready to open in March. It was open in March, but not. We did miss it by a few days, but Liz was right. We were a little ambitious. But it turned out magnificent. We think it's a gorgeous place. We absolutely love the way it turned out. We had 3 incredible days. I think this was opening day. The first Saturday was coincidentally the same as Pub Crawl. We had 1,000 people. We had 1,000 guests through there that one day. And then we got shut down because of COVID. And then we didn't even have 1,000 a week for months and months after that. So bad timing to open a restaurant, but we are not terribly deterred, a little bit deterred, I guess, a little bit humbled. But we are trying some things. As Lisa mentioned, we had people keep coming in and saying, this place is big enough you could do cornhole in here. And I'm like, no, it's a restaurant. It's a restaurant. We're not doing cornhole in the building. The next person would come in and say, man, you could do cornhole in here. I'd say, read my lips. We're not doing cornhole in here. I said, you know, Annie, maybe we should do cornhole in here. And she's like, sure, why not? What the heck? You know, there's nothing open downtown on Sunday, as I said earlier. I mean, it feels like we're open. And so take all and set up cornhole, and it's been very. We opened it. People played for 10 hours. They have a good time. So this is, you can see all the people, the tables we shoved over to one side, you know, eating, drinking, waiting their next turn to go play cornhole. And there's a couple things I'm not a cornhole player, but I love that we've got all ages. You know, we have an 8-year-old and an 80-year-old playing against one another, which I think is very cool. And they give prize money. You know, they charge a registration fee, but most of the money goes to prizes. A little bit goes to the people who help run the event. But you see a lot of happy faces when they win the cash prizes. So we're going to continue doing that. It's not every Sunday, but almost every Sunday. We're not doing it this Sunday because of Easter. Something else, that, as I mentioned, the downtown restaurant owners and bar owners are really trying to work together, something we haven't done so well in the past. And we're trying to have live music downtown on as many nights as we can. On Wednesday nights, we will have blues and barbecue. We're hoping to bring in some fantastic blues bands. Although we have a local, incredibly talented guitar player, Martin Metzger, who calls his group Martin and the Dead Guys. And so we're having them right now the 2nd and 4th Wednesday night. So again, we're making some efforts to get people downtown, to get our downtown really hopping again, and I think we're making great progress. I ran this full-page ad in the newspaper. We had planned to do it for a long time, but then by the time we got it in, we were already closed. I mean, because of COVID. So this ad ran after we'd already closed the business. But we just wanted to thank all the people that helped. So many local people were invaluable. People would just stop by and say, I appreciate what you're trying to do. Can I help? I had so much free labor, you can't imagine it. And I listed Dean Hayes first because he's the only other one besides me that saw it every step of the way from beginning to end, and he's been amazing. So anyway, thank you for coming this morning. Thank you for letting me wander on and on with my conversation. And get my coupons here for some free food on your way out.
Thank you, thank you. We do. We appreciate your investment in downtown. We all promise to eat our barbecue outside so that we can get that downtown vibe going. And we want to spread the word and make sure that everyone knows all that Independence has to offer in the downtown area, especially when it comes to restaurants, because as he mentioned, they have been hard hit. So no cooking until next First Friday. You are to eat in downtown Independence and around town. Stay seated for just a few more minutes while I get my 30-second shout-outs. They all need to come up, get in line in the order that, April, will you hand Brandon that? Come on over, and while we're doing that, I want to tell you that I want to give you some thoughts about Love Independence Day. So write a thank you note, pay it forward in the drive-thru, send somebody flowers, buy somebody some coffee, buy their lunch, buy their dinner, rake some yards, put some quarters in some gumball machines, put some laundry pods in a dryer sheet and some quarters in a Ziploc bag and tape them to the washing machines at the laundromat. Put quarters at Sonic at happy hour for people. Beautify the downtown. Gary talked about the flowers in downtown. Walk into a store and say, hey, you know, if you want me to plant you some flowers to put out front. So just be thinking about things that we can do to help spread the love throughout our community on the last Saturday, April the 24th. And if you have a really good, super cool idea, let us know in advance, because Tana at the Reporter is going to put out a news article about Love Independence Day. They put out a free publication to every single person in this community. Every household gets a publication, and they like to have some articles about some things that are going to be happening that day. So if you want to keep it a secret, fine, but if you want her to know about something you plan to do, let Tana know. All right, Brandon, front and center right here. Brandon Miller's going to kick us off with the first shout out.
All right, so we at Skank Insurance down in the Cornerstone Plaza, we're having our first ever Spring Car Classic on Saturday, May 1st at 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. Registration is from 10 to noon. We're going to have bounce houses for the kids. We're going to get some other cool things out there for the kids, like carnival games. We're going to have barbecue food by the Independence Bible School and a bake sale with them. We're going to have live entertainment. This is for the whole family. We are taking the registration fee is $25 per car shown. The registration fees will then be divided between 2 non-for-profit organizations in Independence. We want to include the whole family in this. So join us on May 1st, and we would love for you to bring a classic car with you or truck.
Thank you. That's their Love Independence Day project, just a week late.
Hi, I'm Kathy Shepard with the RSVP 4 County program. It's a volunteer program for people that are 55 and older. And one of the projects we're working on right now is helping people get signed up for the COVID vaccine. And so if you don't get online, or you know somebody who isn't able to get online and do that, we have volunteers that are willing to do that. You can call our office at 620-332-1954 or 620-332-1978, and we'll just get your name and address and phone number. A volunteer will call you, and then while they're on the phone with you, they will get you registered. They've got the vaccine finder set up on their computer, and so they'll get it all done for you. That's all free. We just want everybody to have access to it that wants it. So just give us a call. Of course, we're not there today, and so call on Monday, and we'll get you going for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. It's a great service. Thank you. All right, Rusty.
Hi, I'm Rusty Baker. I just want to invite everyone out. It's April 24th, 2 o'clock, to the dedication of the Remington Memorial Statue downtown, Independence. I can't imagine a better day for this to fall on. COVID's been terrible for everybody, but in this particular case, it made it happen on the right day, because we originally were going to do this Neowalla weekend, and COVID, got in the way of that and a lot of other things. So everybody come out, love Independence Day, and enjoy yourself. Kristen Douglas Seitz, the sculptor, will be on site that day. She's coming in from Washington State, so hopefully it'll be a pretty big deal. Thank you for all the support for Remington over the years, and look forward to seeing you downtown.
Thank you.
Good morning. As Gary had said, the business owners, restaurants have been getting together and figuring out ways to work together and help independence. And so they came up with, and I just get to be their spokesperson this morning, with this 100 days of dining, downtown dining. And so when you leave, I have these cards, and you can get one. And if you visit 7 of those 9, and you can do it weekly if you eat out a lot, you could do it monthly, or if it takes you the 100 days to do the 7, that's fine. But they will be giving away $100 gift certificates on May 3rd, June 1st, and July 12th, and then randomly some other prizes throughout the time. So they're actually paying you to dine out. So get your card, get them punched over those 30, 60, 90, 100 days, and they're going to pay you to eat out. So thank you.
If you fill one up, where do we get another one?
They are in all the participating restaurants. You can pick them up at the Chamber, the Main Street office, or just call me and I'll get you another one.
Awesome, thank you. We promise to eat out.
Good morning. So for those of y'all that have not met, so my name is Angela Anthony, and I took the position of the Park and Zoo Director. So I just wanted to give a couple of updates of the upcoming events that we have at the Park and Zoo. So tomorrow we will have the annual Easter egg hunt alongside with the Rotary Club. So that'll be starting at 3 o'clock at the Riverside Oval. So anyone from ages 0 to 9, we welcome them to come out and to bring your own basket and do the Easter egg hunt. Next week, so next Saturday on April 10th, that will be the park opening. So we'll be partnering with Four Paws, so that's the Friends of Riverside Park and Ralph Mitchell Zoo. And so that event, we're going to start in the morning at 9 o'clock with Donuts with the Donkeys. So come out and get some hot chocolate and coffee and some donuts and hang out with Jenny and Donkey. From 11 to 3, we will be doing the petting zoo and then the free ride. So the only 2 things that we've modified because of COVID is just not doing face painting or arts and crafts. And then we will be doing our golf, our glow-in-the-dark golf as well. So the first one for that will be April 23rd, starting at 9 o'clock at night. You can get all the details on our Facebook page. While you're out there at the zoo, make sure that you stop by and see our 2 pigs. So we have Miss Piggy and then also Babe. And I promise that none of them will have peg legs.
All right, Paul.
Hi, my name is Paul Molnar. I'm an associate professor of theater at Independence Community College, and I want to invite you all out to the Hale Bandshell Riverside Park, where we will be doing A Midsummer Night's Dream, April 30th through May 2nd. That's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday shows are at 6:30. Friday, Saturday, 6:30. Sunday at 2. So come on out for a little Shakespeare in the Park.
Thank you.
Today I've heard several of you bring up Jerry Bright, and as we all know, he was a very bright star for us here in the community. And yes, Jerry's gift was unity. I'm going to share a quick story. I know we've been here long, but I need to share this. I had a family contact me. They wanted to put a roof on somebody's house that needed a roof. They're like, April, we want to remain anonymous. Can you take care of this? Well, I can't knock on a guy's door and say, hey, somebody wants to put a roof on your house. But Jerry can. So I called Jerry. Sure. I mean, that was it just made his day. Well, it took him 3 times to knock on that door and sit on that front porch and convince the gentleman that it wasn't too good to be true, but it was true. That was Jerry's gift. He could go anywhere in this community and make people comfortable and make them realize that what he said was true and what he said could be done. And Lisa and I have joked many a times. He would come into our office and he'd say, I got an idea. Okay. And many a times we would try to, not many, a few times. We had to bring Jerry back down to reality maybe. But with that, he was just a bright star for our community. And I'm sad that he's gone, but that legacy lives on. And thankfully, with Independence Main Street and some efforts that had started early with Jerry, Jerry secured a couple of the lots for what is now called Patio 210. And with that, we would like to put a bronze sculpture up that somewhat, we don't know what it is because we haven't found the perfect one yet, but it demonstrates unity because that's what Jerry could do. He unified this community. So with that, we are doing a Love Independence Day t-shirt in memory of Jerry and in honor of Jerry, and it's Love Independence Day, Making Days Bright. So if you have an inclination, you would like to purchase a shirt, you can contact the Chamber, Main Street, myself. There is flyers over here that you can fill out. If you want to make a donation to the sculpture piece, you're welcome to do so. You can make it out to the Independence Main Street. They will take those donations. Just identify that it is for Jerry Bright Sculpture. Anyway, I appreciate your all love for Jerry. And Jerry, I miss ya, but we're going to continue your legacy with Bright Christmas and painting houses during Love Independence Day. So thank you.
Thank you very much. So we're all going to get our T-shirts, wear them proudly in Jerry's honor on April the 24th on Love Independence Day. The best thing about coming to First Friday and being here in person is you get good stuff when you leave. So Gary's going to be at the door passing out his certificates for free food at Dickey's. Tabitha's there passing out the 100 days of dining in downtown. The T-shirt applications are over there if you want to grab one of those. There are a lot of flyers on the flyer table. You can get those flyers on our website as well. And I want to, again, thank our business sponsor, Dickey's Barbecue Pit, Gary and Ann Hogsett, for sponsoring this morning's First Friday. I want you to all enjoy the beautiful weather. Have a happy Easter. Enjoy Love Independence. Get out and spread the love on Saturday, April the 24th. Have a great weekend, everyone.